Check it out. We in the building. This is the Main Event Podcast, brand new to the 702.5 FM family. We appreciate E. Carice for letting us come in and do what we do, on top of doing what we do. And every time we go live on y'all, we make sure we bring in nothing but the biggest, nothing but the best, nothing but everything that got anything to do with boxing. That's what we doing over here.
That's what we doing.
Ain't that right, Mike?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we doing.
So nothing other. I'm going to introduce myself. First of all, my name is Tawan Butler, the Main Event Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Over here to my other left. Not my man right here, but my other left. We got Mike Risper. He been my partner for years in the barbershop grinding. 7320 South Rainbow, the barber company. Best shop in Vegas. That's besides the point. But you know, I got to get it in when I can. You know what I'm saying? But Mike Risper, how you doing, man? You good?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I can't complain.
Everything is good
here,
brother.
I'm glad to be
here. Always.
This is the best place to be right now.
Come on, man. When we talk about boxing, and the main event is all people want to see.
That's it.
When you talk about boxing. So that's why we call this the main event, right?
That's right.
But let's get to the main event, because I can't wait to introduce my partner that's sitting right here to my left.
All right.
Everybody would kill for this opportunity
you
to have this
kidding.
brother.
You sure right about that.
And talk boxing with a man like this here, a man of his stature.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? But let me give you just a rundown of my partner before I say his name. The man that been involved in so many of the biggest pay-per-view fights you could ever imagine. Not only that, working with the biggest name in the sport of boxing. Even though he ain't even boxing no more, he's still the biggest name in the sport of boxing.
That's right.
And this man right here to my left played a big part of that career, being the biggest name in the sport of boxing. Because not only do you got to fight to be the biggest name in the sport of boxing.
That name, though.
You got to have, hold on. Not only do you have to fight to be the biggest name in the sport of boxing, you got to have a great team.
That's right.
To be the biggest name in the sport of boxing. And the head of that team got to know what he's doing, so everybody can click on all cylinders to make sure that boxer reaches full potential, right? So none other than to my left and me and Mike's middle, I got the biggest name in the sport of boxing. My man Leonard, I call him Ellerbe. You know what I'm saying? What's up, big homie?
What's up, boss, man? Thank you for having me on y'all show.
Thank you for coming down, man.
Anything for my people.
It took a lot of shaves, a lot of goatee trims, a lot of conversations to get my man down here. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate everything that me and this man then came across with and was able to talk about and come here and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So, how you doing this good Monday, my brother?
Blessed to be here amongst good people. Ready to get it popping.
Man, you know, we got a lot of questions, too, because we here for the whole 55 minutes, and I'm going to drag it out, maybe 56 if Carice let us do it. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for coming out, El. You know, there's so many questions I want to ask you, but I want to start from the tippy top because you've played a very big part in Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s, success in boxing. So I just want to know, to top it all off, to everybody that might not know, how did you even become involved in the sport of boxing?
Well, I used to be an amateur boxer. Started out when I was about 7 years old. Boxed for many years, growing up in Washington, D.C. I was a decent amateur.
What was that record like?
I was decent. We got to talk about all that, but I was decent.
Okay.
I was decent.
Okay.
I put in a lot of work.
You put in a lot of work?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we ain't got to know the record, but how many amateur fights did you say you had before you said, you know what, I know what to do?
Before I knew what I was doing?
Yeah.
40
amateur fights.
That's a good amateur career right there.
That's more than enough, because some people have 6 and think they could be world champs. All right, you know what I'm saying? So
away.
That's good enough for me. So what about your career in boxing? Say, you know what, I'm not going to fully go that route. I'm going to go this other way, because I seen online you do have a few degrees in the business side of things. So what is that, what helped you make your decision not going pro? You wanted to stay in the background, or?
No, I was actually having hand problems, and they would surface at the most inopportune times. You know, you break your hand, you know, just injuries in general, but mostly hand problems before the big tournaments, Olympic trials, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I work with a lot of successful people back then, and it's just everything's about timing.
Right.
And
I agree.
And when you're making your way and trying to find your way with anything you do, you just have to continue to stay at it.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't my course. And my mom, she told me, she said, well, baby, maybe God has something else in store for you.
Right.
Because I always thought that I was going to be Floyd,
right.
Floyd Mayweather, but really Sugar Ray Leonard back then.
Okay.
I really believe that. But it just wasn't my path. And my mom, through all the bumps and bruises, she said that God has a different path for you. What about business? She wasn't talking about business of boxing. She was just saying business in general.
Business, period.
Yeah.
So that's what made you get that degree?
Yeah.
I seen online too, you was enlisted, you was in the service.
Yep. I boxed in the Air Force.
As long as I known you, I still didn't know that. I was shocked when I seen it. I said, El was in the service? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What made you make that decision?
Boxing.
Yeah. Oh, you was boxing for the...
So you
I was boxing in there.
Never lost
nice,
your love for the
nice.
sport.
Never. Ever since I was a kid. Yeah, through everything. Growing up in the tough neighborhoods of Washington D.C., Northeast.
Yeah. Okay.
I boxed at Hillcrest Boxing Club.
Okay. Shout out to Hillcrest.
Yeah.
You got to give him a shout out once you drop the name.
Yeah, as a youngster, catching 3 buses to boxing practice every day.
The grind.
Yeah, the grind.
Yeah. Oh man.
Stuck with it, and then through the amateurs I met Roger and Jeff.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we built a friendship. And I used to come back and forth to Vegas as a youngster, and we had a very close relationship. We still do to this day. They both introduced me to the young Floyd. He was probably like 13 at the time.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
And he was coming back and forth to Vegas, just as a youngster. And they always used to tell me about my nephew. He's the real deal. Yeah.
Man.
Both of them. And the relationship kind of evolved from there.
From right then and there. Because, I try to stay in the business. You know me. I know a few people that know a few people, but to reach that pinnacle, it could be so hard. Every up and coming promoter, every up and coming manager, they all wish that they could even get a glimpse of an up and coming Floyd Mayweather. But it's gonna be hard. I don't think it can ever be duplicated again. I'm just gonna keep it real with you.
This won't be duplicated again.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
It has taken, I have a wonderful, wonderful team. And it definitely starts with having a great team. But it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I mean, for 15 years, I can honestly say 7 days a week, a minimum 16, 18 hours a day.
Just grinding. Making sure.
And I did everything. I didn't start out as the CEO of the company.
No. I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know when we met. I know.
I did it all. But I was loyal. I grinded. Floyd continued to believe in me. I gave him great results in anything that I do. I always was, that positive person that was in his ear, and just really lead by example, because I was the older guy that was around, and but it's been a tough journey. I can honestly say that, but been truly blessed. Then done everything that one could ever dream of when they come in the sport. We've promoted and been in the biggest boxing events ever in the history of the sport.
Oh yeah,
when you look at the top 10 biggest fights in the history of the sport, I think
y'all in like 5 of them.
No, I think it's like 7. I want to say either 6 or 7.
Woo!
Yeah.
But I mean, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry, brother.
Because we were talking about amateurs.
Yeah, for sure.
Floyd was fortunate enough to have somebody like you in his corner and in his ear, kind of telling them, the positive things. How important it is for some of these young fighters that's probably either coming out of amateur, going into pro in their early career, to have someone in their corner that they can really listen to, that can help direct and shape their character, even outside of the ring. Because some fighters, they self-destruct when they leave the ring, not when they're in the ring.
Yeah, it's essential. I mean, it's essential to have a good team in anything you do in life.
You need a team.
To be successful, it's not about I. You know, it's we, us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the mindset that we've had, and he's been very adamant in speaking to that fact that, you know, he's been blessed with a great team, because he knows that I got his back, and anybody who worked for me, with me, we got his back 100% through everything. And we grinded and grinded and grinded, and we still grinding.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's always a grind. But leading up to that point, I want to know what it was you think you did to make Floyd go, you know what, L, I need you to run this. I'm a fight. I'm a put away anybody y'all put in front of me. I just need you to have my back and take care of this business. What about your hustle made him be like, you know what, L, you the man. You take forefront on this one.
Loyalty, and I'm a hustler. Both of those things, you know, he trusted me, you know, in everything that we believed in as a team. I knew what his vision was, and we had the same goals. You know, I believed in his vision. When I believed, no one else believed. You know,
that's what it takes.
You know, but it wasn't me alone. It was, you know, early on in his career, me and Mac.
That is Sean.
Yeah.
What up, Sean? That's my partner.
Yeah.
What up, Mac? Head. What's happening?
You know, it was just us.
Yeah.
Just grinding. You know, I used to do everything from driving to carrying the bags to packing the bags to wearing the bodysuit to, you know, everything. Everything.
Just started from the bottom.
By any means necessary, we got it done. I was never too good to do anything, and it was just the grind. And he saw that I was very loyal when everybody else was running, chasing the broads and in the clubs and doing all those things. I was in the office. I was working.
Yeah, you got to be working.
I was working.
To get to that stage, somebody has to put in the work.
Right.
You can't just kick it and kick it and kick it in club and hang out and girls and this and this.
Yeah.
Somebody got to put in the work in the office.
He said something very important. He said, believing in his vision.
Right.
You got to have somebody that will partake in the vision that you have in order for it to flourish. Because everybody have a job to do, have a position to hold. And the fact that he stayed with Floyd like he did, that was golden. That's what he's seen in him. Somebody that can, you know, he can put his vision in, and when you can take his vision and run with it, man, that's what makes a great team. When you don't, when you got people that can't, you know, go into the vision that's set, your team will fall apart. I don't care how great you fight. What happens behind them closed doors is just as important as what you do when you get in the ring.
Most definitely, and it's true. The vision was critical because early on, he always used to say, "I'm gonna be the first fighter to make $100 million."
Wow.
He used to say that, and I'm not exaggerating. 20 years ago.
What year did he say he was gonna be the first? Because not only did it happen once,
Yeah.
Not only did it happen twice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that just don't happen all the time like that. Because every fighter say they're going to make $50 million, $100 million, but this actually came to fruition.
Oh, yeah, because we believed. We believed. He knew. He said he was going to be the biggest star in the sport.
Yeah.
At 19, 20 years old, he was saying those kind of things.
Dang, so take me back to them years. You know what I'm saying? We not going to promote any other promotional company other than Mayweather Promotions right about now. But take me back to them years before you and Floyd was able to become your own bosses and make the moves y'all wanted to make. How was his career coming up under the ranks before he became his own boss? Was it... Because a lot of fighters, they always want this, they want that. They feel like they need the A-list treatment, the red carpet, and all that stuff. But just talk about the grind he had to take before he even got his actual first world title shot, so these fighters don't get it misconstrued.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that's a great point, because nowadays you see all the younger fighters, everybody talking about having promotional companies. You know, this company and that company. And they have no clue. They have no clue what it takes. And what that grind is like. You know, it's easy to say, okay, I got a promotional company. Okay, well, when you putting on a show.
Right.
How many fighters you got?
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
And at the end of the day, you don't have a promotional company until you start writing checks.
Tell them. Tell them. And it hurts your hand when you got to write.
Right.
Yeah,
Because what
you
you're
gotta
doing,
make it look good.
what you're essentially doing, you're investing into all your young fighters their future.
Right.
So there's you don't start out, receiving these big licensing fees, and you're writing checks.
Yes, sir.
You're writing checks.
But before we go any further, I do want to say, since we talking about the young up and coming stars that y'all got a roster full over there at Mayweather Promotions, and I just want to commend you on a good show that I was able to attend. First time media as the main event. I felt good. I want to make some noise for the main event. We was in there on the media side. It felt good.
Indeed.
But we was able to see some of the young stars that y'all was bringing up. Like I got a liking to Kevin Newman. He went out there and handled his business. He fought a tough opponent. He couldn't put away, but he looked good.
Did you see those clips?
Yeah.
Did you see the clips that they put out today?
No, I didn't see them.
Showtime put out some clips today.
Yeah. He looked good. And not only did he look good, everybody who was somebody in the sport of boxing was there, though.
Yeah.
You know
We had lots of...
Other than myself.
Lots of the top fighters
Leonard
in the sport.
was in there.
Yeah.
Floyd was there.
Yeah.
Tank was there. Badu Jack was there. Shakur Stevenson was there. AB was there. I mean, anybody
Lubin.
Yes, he was. Everybody was there. So even I forget the one dude. I seen him shake Floyd's hand probably in the middle of a round or something. Sai, the MMA fighter, or the other dude, KSI. What?
KSI.
Yeah, KSI. I seen him there too. But it was great. It was a sold out event. But he gonna play the clip live right here on the Main Event Podcast. Make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube. The Chosen One, the second coming. We doing good.
But yeah, it was an outstanding show. I'm always excited to do these club shows, as we say, to do the club shows, and because what it does give us a chance to develop our young talent, in a situation where Friday night happened to be a Showbox broadcast, but 9 times out of 10 they're dark shows and there's no TV involved, and that's how you build the young fighters and develop them, and see what you got.
Right.
So I really enjoy doing those type of shows as opposed to doing the big events.
Oh wow, really?
I really do.
Because you're bringing them up, you get to see the raw talent, the people that's hungry. Because it's like sometimes fighters get to that stage and they win one good fight and they think, oh, I done made it. And nah, you got to grind, man. It's a grind to get to $1 million purse. It just don't happen overnight like that.
No, that don't happen.
But no, y'all, shout out to Kevin Newman. Shout out to Xavier Martinez. He put his opponent out in the first round. That was some vicious, man. How you feel about Xavier Martinez?
Richardson Hitchens.
It was a good fight too.
And Rolando.
That was a good fight. That was a good fight.
Of course.
Even my wife was like, "Dang, they fighting."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It was bumping.
It was a real good fight, and I commend y'all, man, for keeping it going, bringing Showbox down there, and it was a good event. I enjoyed myself to the utmost. Great night of fights, perfectly matched. Everybody looked good. Good win for Mayweather Promotions.
Yes, sir. Indeed. And not only that, but it's a buzz in the city about the Sam's Town Club. Because you didn't had several fights there now, so now they know.
Yeah, Sam's Town is the spot. That's the low key spot.
That is
the
spot.
Now. You can't just be like,
spot. I remember a brother a couple years ago was doing fights at the Sam's Town a couple years ago. It was the spot. It was the spot. Yeah. But no, I just wanted to give shots out on the event y'all was able to let us credential into for the main event. I sure appreciate that, man, because we want to cover anything that got to do with boxing on the main event. We only talk about the real. But now we can go back to Floyd grinding up until his first world title shot. Can you describe that feeling that y'all got, that first world title shot that he got?
Yeah, I can actually. I had a dream about it probably about 2 weeks ago.
Well, go on, let us in on the dream.
I can recall being up in Big Bear, me, Mac, and Floyd being up in Big Bear, and Floyd having maybe 3 or 4 sparring partners, and one of them was a world champion, Cesar Bazan at that time. He was 35-pound world champion when he was boxing Floyd in camp up in Big Bear to prepare for Gennaro Hernandez. Mm-hmm. So the grind is real, man. It's, everybody see lights, camera, action, and all the flash, but they have no clue to what we had to go through
to get to the lights, camera, action.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's one thing that I can honestly say, Floyd Mayweather is the hardest working man I've ever seen in this entire sport.
I can attest to that, only because, and from Vegas, Floyd lived the Vegas life all day long. You might see him at the club. He ain't drinking. He ain't smoking. He might run home on you after the club,
he gonna
too.
do that.
He might switch his outfit and run from the strip.
He gonna do that, especially if he didn't get his run in prior to going out.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen, running from the club. In Air Force Ones in the rain.
I've heard stories.
Wow.
But it takes that though to get
that
to that
mindset,
level.
that mentality.
Yes, sir.
And what I admire about him, especially the latter part of his career, is what his hustle is all about. Is that his work ethic is so impressive. Because obviously, the further we got into our career, I couldn't spend as much time around the gym because I was obviously taking care of the business in the office. So, occasionally I come down to the gym and I stand up there on the top rope and just look at the brother, just put in that work. And we talking about 500 million in. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you don't have to ask him, oh, were you training today?
Yeah.
He's self-motivated.
He's gonna do it.
Yeah, he's gonna get it in no matter what. And that man, he takes his job very, very, very seriously, more so than anybody I've ever seen. He don't play when it comes to his job and taking care of his business and that preparation. Can you imagine? You've made $500 million and you getting up out of them satin sheets.
I don't know if I can run 9 miles if I got $500 million. Me personally, I don't think I can run. I'm comfortable.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something he's never been. He's comfortable with his lifestyle, but as far as comfort, when it comes to, he's consistently always pushed himself. And that's, again, the latter part, especially the latter part of his career, I stand on the top rope and I just shake my head and just amazed, this guy, you got to run him out the gym. You said, Floyd, don't leave it in the gym. He said, no, I got this. Got to make sure I got everything covered across the board. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, because I know y'all, you're bringing up these young fighters. You got a nice stable, and you've seen the work that Floyd has put in, and these young fighters that's coming up. How do you see or duplicate that type of hunger? They may not be Floyd, but you still want that kind of drive to be in your fighter, that you ain't got to motivate them to get up, but they just get up and go. How do you put that in a young fighter so that he can last and become that big mainstream fighter and make all the money that he could?
Well, I think you have to be self-motivated.
I was just going to say that.
You have to want it yourself. If I want it more than you want it, then
it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. You have to be self-motivated. You have to want it more so than anybody else.
You can't teach want.
Yeah, and that's something you can't.
Yeah, you can't teach want.
Either you want to have that drive. You can have people on your team that can attempt to try to push you, but you got to want it yourself more so than anybody to even get started. And again, that's one thing that I've always admired when it has come down to Floyd, is that that man takes his job very seriously. He don't play when it comes to his job.
Nah.
Yeah, don't play at all, whether it's with his mama, daddy, friends, kids, whatever. That man do not, when it comes to his job, he do not play.
Nah.
That man do not play when it comes to
That's a good thing.
I can attest to that. I'll sit here and I can comfortably say I've been knowing these brothers since about 99, 2000. And he ain't never played when it came to his job. Even when Floyd used to come to the barbershop off of Sunset and Eastern out there in Green Valley, I remember cutting him up. And Floyd was even trying to rap back then. So it's so many men. But it's good to see him come from then till now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought meeting Floyd years ago that I'd be the main one throwing a house party every time he fight. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody come over, we drinking, we eating. And that was the time I get to bet everybody, because Floyd knew how to sell himself. So when he sold himself, it made people wish he would lose because he talked so much trash. So I used that to my advantage. I was like, oh, you think he gonna lose? I got 500. Okay, you think he gonna lose? I got 100. I got 150 with you. At the end of the night, I done made $1,000 because everybody just to hate. Just because he talks so much trash good, that boy know how to sell a fight, sell a lifestyle. Like, you could fight, but you got to be able to be a showman. You got to be able to do everything it takes to make people actually buy pay-per-view, hoping you lose and you disappoint them every time.
But the key to it is being the banker.
Ooh.
That's the key to it.
Talk to him about being a banker. I want to be a
sell
banker.
it,
I want to be a banker.
To sell it, and then when they push that button, that money come into the account. Money come into the account. But it was a long, hard road, and we grinded. We didn't start out on top. We spent the first 11 years under Top Rank. I say that.
Right.
Grinding under them, learning. The business.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
because that showed what I was gonna ask you. How did it feel when y'all was able to finally cut free of that string and able and actually make the moves that you wanted to make, regardless of having somebody over your head? That has to feel like the best feeling in the world, to actually be your own boss, promote how you want, control everything from top to bottom. Like, what was that feeling like, actually getting cut free from the prior promotion company, diving straight into Mayweather Promotions?
Well, we didn't get cut. Floyd made a decision that he bought himself out of.
Right, but that's what I mean. Not cut, but just like cut ties. That's what I should have said. Cut ties.
It was vision. We knew early on that, it's all about, being an entrepreneur. And that was all.
Entrepreneur.
That's right.
Straight up.
That's right.
Okay.
That was always his vision and his mindset, that he always wanted to be his own boss. They early on they wanted him to kind of model his lifestyle after Oscar De La Hoya.
Right.
And that's where they tried to market early on. They tried to market Floyd in the Hispanic community. Mm-hmm. And that just wasn't going to work. It just wasn't going to work.
So is that why him and De La Hoya never fought while he was on Top Rank?
Well, Floyd wanted to fight him.
The powers that be ain't want him to fight, because they knew what was going to happen.
Exactly.
Right.
At that time, Oscar was at.
Because that's a rumor too. They be like, "Oh man, he waited until this to fight this." Sometimes the business just got to be right.
Yeah, but it wasn't even realistic back then. I mean, because Floyd was much smaller, and again, Oscar was the cash cow at that particular time when he was.
Yes, sir.
He was with them, and we were with them. We were the young
up and comers.
Yeah, but Floyd always knew, and believed, because he used to tell me that. He said, "One day I'm gonna fight him." He used to tell me, he said, "One day I'm gonna fight him." He said, "One day I'm gonna fight him,"
and he did.
Yeah.
And if I ain't mistaken, I think he raked in like $25 million for that.
No, it was a little more.
It was a little more. I mean, I'm just saying what the public might know. I'm just going off of that, but still.
Yeah, we had to take the shorthand.
He was the B-side.
Most definitely.
They said Oscar De La Hoya got to control the glove sizes, the ring size, everything. And that's what he adamant on. When you the B-side, you got to pay your dues. Now, as a promoter, can you tell these fighters, there is no difference between the A-side and the B-side? Yeah, the guy y'all got signed is coming off the A-side, but the guy on the B-side got just as much opportunity as the other guy. It's the best man win once the bell ring.
Yeah. Once the bell ring, the fight's gonna play itself out. But the terms are being dictated by the person who's on the A side.
Right. So the A side, they can either mess it up or keep it going
all day long. It's all about winning.
Go ahead, Mike. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just had to ask that question real quick. You was about to pop in and say something.
It didn't pass me. I can't remember what the question I had. It was probably before that. I was so into what you were saying it just passed me on by.
I mean, we live here at the Main Event Podcast. Make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube, where we bring you nothing but the real, man. Leonard Ellerbe is in the building, and we talking about nothing other than the best business in boxing. And right now, the best in boxing is over there at Mayweather Promotions. They got a lot of up-and-coming fighters. The Badu Jack, Young Tank, and just Hitchison coming up, Kevin Newman coming up. I mean, they got a lot of stuff. They got Well, I would say they got big shoes to fill because everybody want to fill Floyd's shoes. I personally think it's impossible because the man that broke so many records, it discouraged you. Like, dang, I'd never do that. But they should always keep striving to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just speak a little bit on the stable that you have and the quality of boxers and what you foresee coming out of your stable. I know Tank Davis is a superstar. I know that,
and he's fighting December 28th.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
State Farm Arena.
Yeah.
Tickets go on sale tomorrow.
In Atlanta.
Ticketmaster.
All right.
In Atlanta. And
You
we're
know-
going to be on the credential list for the main event. I get us some plane tickets. Don't even trip. L already said yeah. Tell him yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, we good. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
just kind of speak on that because I know Tank is the star. He's the guy that everybody got their eye on. He's very exciting. He got power. He knock people out. He's just the upcoming fighter that will, that void of superstar. He's gonna be the one to take that spot.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of touched on that. But what a lot of people and a lot of fans have yet to see because he hadn't had to go in his bag yet. Tank has a tremendous skill set. He can actually box his behind off. He just ain't had
He never had to.
Never had
Any
to.
fight I've seen, he ain't had to.
Yeah, he has tremendous speed. And he has all the tools. He has all the tools, but people just hadn't. They just only seen his power. But Tank can box his behind off, and he will be the biggest star in the entire sport. We're building him in that fashion. When his fights are events, and that's what we fully expect. We expect a sold out packed State Farm Arena
In Atlanta, that's gonna be star studded.
Yeah, Black Hollywood.
Black Hollywood.
Black
out there.
Hollywood.
Black Hollywood out there.
Who's who crowd.
He got a good opponent, but
I mean, Gamboa ain't no slouch.
No, by no
we
means.
can say he better than good. Gamboa done made a name
no,
for
he
himself.
Yes,
He earned the right to fight Tank.
That's right.
And
That's
Tank
right.
earned the right to fight him. So I mean, that is one name Tank gonna have to go through if he want to claim his spot in the sport of boxing. Gamboa, I ain't gonna call him no gatekeeper because he still got a lot left in the tank. Gamboa is far from a slouch.
No, he's not a slouch, but he is a gatekeeper. He's his last couple of fights with before
He looked
his
good
last
fighting
one-
Rocky
he looked
Martinez.
Good his last one, but before he needed to get back on in that gym again. But he's back. He's looked good. Looked great. He's nowhere near a slouch. I will never say that, but I think he's a good person to step into that next level for. You've got to go through him because he held it down for a while.
Yeah. He Gamboa, he's an outstanding fighter, and Tank's gonna have to be on his A game. When he fights him on the 28th, you cannot overlook him by any means because anytime you step up in that ring, that the person on the other side of that ring is looking to knock you off your throne. Mm-hmm. He wants everything that you got and where you're planning to get to. So he's got to be on his A game come December 28th, and I fully expect him to. We have a tremendous card. I expect to have all my Mayweather promotion fighters on the card.
And the main event out there. On the credential side, on
Sell it,
the floor.
sell it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We got to do what we got to do. We will be out there, hopefully. I'll talk to him when the cameras go off.
So from top to bottom, it's going to be an outstanding show, and I'm right now putting everything together. We're again going to make we put out a release today, but tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Man, I can't wait to see that fight. I'm sure going to be tuned in. If not, be there to cover it. But I want to backtrack a little bit, if you don't mind, Mike. Leonard, I want to backtrack a little bit because a lot of people and the public, they want to know. I mean, it's old news, but a lot of people don't know what's on the inside. So that's why I want to bring it up as far as Floyd eventually fighting Manny Pacquiao, right? And it was years and years and years and years before you guys could make the fight happen. Now, people on the inside of boxing know what could be the holdups are and all of that type of stuff. But can you please tell the people what took so long to actually make that fight happen between Floyd and Pacquiao? Because them not fighting, you don't know how many times I defended Floyd in the barbershop. He ain't running. Floyd will whoop Pacquiao right now. Just put up a ring. He'll fight him in the back of the barbershop right now. He ain't running. But I know a lot of business will hold that up. So can you just elaborate on what took so long to actually make that fight happen?
Drug testing. Drug testing.
Period.
We couldn't come to an agreement on the drug testing, and I don't want to go into the details of the conversations, but that's the ultimate reason why it didn't happen sooner than it did. There was lots of discussion and refusal on the other side to, do some things, and we just refused to do it, but eventually it came to fruition in 2015, and again it was a
biggest pay-per-view
fight
ever.
Yeah,
and I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna be one side as soon as the bell rang. I knew it was gonna be, but I did make a lot of money at my house. I did. I ain't gonna lie. I did make a lot of money.
It was a great event, great fight. Floyd dominated the fight.
Yes, he did.
In spectacular fashion.
Like he does
every fight.
Manny Pacquiao, he's a legend. It was an honor to even be, working with him, and his team, leading up in the build up to his fight. And it's ironic how things come full circle. Now Manny Pacquiao is working with us. For his events, and again, the best working with the best.
What you think Manny got coming up? As far as because he already ran through Keith, and I know everybody called.
Well, I'm not at liberty to say just yet.
I know, but just maybe a sneak peek.
He's obviously going to be fighting, top of 2020,
right?
In another big pay-per-view fight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I believe that, man, because Manny Pacquiao, he didn't beat some of the best. He just couldn't beat the best.
And what I'm saying? And it's okay.
I was saying.
And it's
he
okay.
Beat some of the best, but he couldn't beat the best.
He's a great fighter. He's a great human being. He's done a lot for his country and still does. And I'm just it's an honor to know
work
him.
with him.
To know him.
Now, he seemed like a good dude, a good humble dude. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say the same thing. He do seem like a good, humble, personable dude, approachable. Seemed fun to be around, Manny Pacquiao. He's, a lot of people love him just because his personality. Even when he was leading up the fight, Keith Thurman was saying a lot of stuff, saying a lot of things that kind of pull him off his, his square. He never took the bait. He always been a classic guy, and I always liked that about Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, he's a veteran, and that's what vets do. They let the youngsters get out there and talk that talk, but Manny Pacquiao is able to back it up.
Yeah, and speaking on that note, since you brought it up, I feel the same about you though, because just a couple fights ago, Adrian Broner was fighting Mikey Garcia, and in that conference, he started mouthing off, saying some things. I really liked the way you handled it. You didn't take the bait. No, you
can't. I'm an older guy, obviously, and I have lots of experience, and more so that I have much more to lose.
Than he do.
But things happen, and it's all about how you handle things, and you set the tone, and I lead by example. So, that was a little bump in the road, and it was something that, he apologized like a man, and hey, we moved on.
That's a good thing. See, I didn't know he apologized. See, that's
you don't have to do something publicly. You know,
as long as it gets done, it gets done.
Yeah,
I personally think he did it just to get more viewers for the fight. I don't think can't nobody really sit down and just disrespect you. El, you done so much for the sport.
I don't think it wasn't directed towards me, even though it came out that way. It wasn't directed towards me. And I'll just kind of leave it that part. It wasn't directed to me because he's always had the utmost respect for me. When he's come in contact with me, it's always been that way, and it still is that way.
Yes, sir.
Again, it was an incident that happened. We dealt with it, publicly at that moment. Privately, it was, apology, et cetera. And as a man, you move on.
Yeah.
It ain't,
Exactly.
That's what it is.
That's the right thing to do. But it's always good to bring it out, because the public, they always got their way of looking at things, viewing things. Some people take and twist stuff around, but it's always good to know when stuff come back around full circle, and y'all can move forward. Ain't nobody say you're gonna always agree. Anybody gonna say you're never gonna have a bump in the road, but it's what you do after that.
Yeah, we have definitely a mutual respect for one another, and again, we working with him and his team, on his fights.
I was gonna say he got to have some respect because y'all promoting his fight, so he got to have some type of respect.
Talking about writing checks.
He's a solid dude. He's a solid dude.
I believe that.
And again, we have a mutual respect for one another, and that's how I like to keep it with everybody.
Yes, sir. No, I can believe it. Now, going back, I want to know this personally. I don't know about anybody else, but when y'all first hooked up with Al, what was that like, or how did that even happen? Like, how did Al get on the phone? How did you guys put Al in the circle? Because it seemed like everybody trying to get to you or Al now, nowadays. So it's like, how did that even happen? Because y'all got with him before he was even a name. I mean, he was a name if you knew boxing, but he wasn't a household name in boxing like he is now until he got with y'all. So how did that happen?
Most definitely. I actually knew Al when he was in the music business, and I knew that he was that dude in the music business. And when he made the move, to cross over into boxing, there was a conversation Floyd had, with him, and everything. And I was definitely one that was raising my hand and was so happy, because you got to understand when you're building an empire, you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
You can't do it by yourself, and especially at the highest level. At the highest level we're talking about, and what we were able to do, working hand in hand. Again, this stuff will never be duplicated. We still this day, because we have a lot of business together. We talk 5-6 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah, every day.
And that's and they say don't nobody ever talk to Al, but Leonard talks to Al.
Yeah,
all right,
every day.
Yeah, I talk to him more than anybody. I'm pretty sure of that. But again, that's my partner. We've been through a lot together. And again, anytime you're having success and you have the vision where you want to go to the top, you got to make sure that you're covered across the board and you have a great team moving forward. We me, him, and Floyd, we have each other's back. Yeah. You can't cross us. You can't get through us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like we don't play that divide and conquer stuff. So we got the flank protected. So that's what it is. Again, anytime that you're doing business at this level, you have to have a solid team to protect yourself across the board. And,
yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
And two heads are better than one.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Some he might see that I don't see, and vice versa. We got everything covered. Yeah. And again, when you're talking about the highest paid athlete in the entire world.
Yeah, in the history of any sport.
Yeah, not just in boxing. I mean, just not in boxing.
Any sport.
Right. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. Especially when you talk about someone's portfolio. All the real estate holdings, and I could just go on and on. It's more than boxing.
Yeah, it got to be more than boxing.
When you're managing assets, and I'm proud to say that Floyd Mayweather's made over $1 billion in his career.
Wow. Now speaking on that, I'm just a numbers guy. El. You know me. I don't know until I ask. That's how I get smarter at what I do. But how did it feel negotiate? My fighter need $100 million before he even put gloves on. Like, how did that? I know I would feel good to say 100 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? How did that go?
And I signed the check.
That's what I'm saying. How did that go?
He put a picture out there
I seen him on the All Access after. He was like, "Oh, if you don't know what $100 million check, I show you." No, I know it is. We only got a few minutes left. I don't want to look it up now. I just want to know that feeling. I want to know, like, what was it like to negotiate? Like, you know what? The fighters is gonna make X amount. Our promotion company gonna make X amount, and we riding off into the sunset. What's that feeling like starting from the bottom?
I never really thought about it. To be totally honest, is because I stay humble and just stay in my lane and just grind and just do what we do.
Because it happened more than once. I mean, that's not, if it happened more than once,
you got to understand. You have to understand what your when you have a team, because Floyd's not a client. When you that's my partner.
That's
right. That's family.
Right.
So you got to understand, the level that you're operating at. You know, and what you got.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we got when it comes to Floyd. We got this part right here, and he got that.
Right.
He got all of that over there, and we got to protect and do this over here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and and again, when you got a team and this side's doing their part and this side's doing their part, and it all comes together. That's a beautiful feeling.
Oh man, that's $100 million feeling. Man, more than that, but that's just a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
And how did you? And then another question before we get up out of here. I know we only got a few minutes left. The Main Event Podcast. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. We're bringing you nothing but the best inside the sport of boxing, baby. How did the Conor McGregor fight come? Even just how did it even happen? How does that? You know what? All right, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Floyd.
Because some people thought it was just a cash grab. Some people actually thought McGregor had a chance, which they was crazy as hell in the first place. But Floyd did that. I mean, that was all
Floyd. It was his idea and his vision. I mean, we saw. Well, let me back up. Conor McGregor, I have the utmost respect for him. Cool dude. We built a solid, relationship, building up him and his manager, Ollie, and Dana, good, very good team, good people to work with. But Conor took Floyd's whole stilo, as we call it. He took his whole his whole stilo.
He took a piece out the cake. He took a piece out the cake.
And took it over to the UFC.
Yeah.
He watched every single thing that Floyd did.
Yeah.
And he took that and mimicked it and took it to the UFC. And I ain't mad at it.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you're looking at the best.
Look, that's right.
What did Kobe do to Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
He studied every nook and cranny
That's
of his
right.
game and implemented it on the court.
And it worked. And it worked. It worked to his advantage. And he was popping a lot of stuff, during that time. And he went to Dana and there was some conversations and and Floyd said, we gonna fight.
Oh, man.
We gonna fight.
I don't think that'll happen again. Do you ever see a popular MMA fighter fighting a popular boxer? Or that
See,
was
you can't see those. It was a natural between those two because both of them have the personalities, and nothing was rehearsed. Everything what you saw is pure entertainment and was real. Mm-hmm. All the build up,
all the press tours,
press tours.
Oh, it was hilarious.
I just went back recently.
It was hilarious.
And I was watching some of the stuff, and people say to me all the time when they say, during the whole tour, all you were doing was smiling.
That's all I be doing too. I know what's on the other end.
Look, I'm sitting there. I'm just watching this man. He was doing his thing. He was selling that thing.
Yeah.
We just sat in the cut and just watched him go to work. Beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, I do got a few more, man. It's not only, we got Leonard Ellerbe in the building, so it's hard not to got a million questions for this man because he's done so much in the sport of boxing and broke so many barriers in the sport of boxing as far as records. But what is somebody like you when you looking for new talent? When you scouting for somebody that could hopefully even be a fourth of what Floyd would have been, what is it that you look for in a fighter to make you go, you know what? I'm going to sign you, young man. I see something in you. What are you looking for in a fighter?
Character. That's one of the first things I look at. Mm-hmm. Is that because in today's times, you see it's so much goes on with the younger generation, and it helps. Nothing mandatory, but it helps that if you come from a good background, a solid background, you know, a mother and father. By no means is any of that mandatory, but I'm just saying it just helps coming from a solid upbringing, you know, having respect for others. You know, all of the non-boxing, the boxing stuff is what it is. But when it comes to character, that's something I really, really look at.
Real quick. So when you look at character, what about a fighter hanging out with people that may have a bad influence on them as they get greater and greater, but then they accumulate some pretty bad friends? They started out good.
But that's just not boxing. That's life. I mean, you know, peer pressure is something. It's something else. And I think, again, that has something to do with, you know, it starts in your household. You know, having someone, a guardian, a mother, father, teaching you right from wrong. You know, that's where it starts. You know, and again, I'm very, very big on that. You know, I'm very hands-on with all of my guys. You know, because I call them and check on them all the time. You know, I'm concerned about the stuff that goes on outside of the ring. You know, as opposed to what goes on inside the ring. They have trainers and things of that nature to keep an eye on them. I'm concerned about our young men and young women being good citizens, being good mothers and good fathers. You know, leading by example. Being you know, being positive. You know, we have so much negativity out here in this world, and you know, I don't want any part of that. You know, don't bring no negativity around me.
Well, up and coming managers, up and coming promoters. If you're gonna come by Leonard Ellerbe's way, make sure the man come from a good, wholesome beginning. Make sure he got good values about himself, and most of all, make sure he can fight. I want to take y'all and I want to tell y'all thank you so much for tuning in to the main event. I got Leonard Ellerbe here. I appreciate you coming, big dog. It means the world to me.
I want to know when can I come back?
Oh,
next Monday, because I got at least 30 minutes more questions just to ask you. But
I'll come back next Monday.
But I got Leonard Ellerbe here, my boy Mike Risper.
Oh yeah.
If y'all don't have a guest, I'll come back next Monday.
We'll
man, look, even if we do got a guest, he ain't coming no more. You coming down.
Okay, lock me in. I'll be here next Monday.
Y'all heard
Part 2.
It's going down. Thank y'all. Like and subscribe on YouTube, the Main Event Podcast, baby. We out.